So thank you and welcome back to the main stage. And our next session is a fireside chat, which is, you could say it's an intimate conversation with people watching that, so it's not so intimate anymore.
A rambling discourse.
Yeah. So one of our speakers here on the left, you probably know him best by his nickname, PLAYERUNKNOWN, Brendan Greene, the famous inventor of PUBG. But I just asked him, do you get recognized a lot? Not at all. Okay, so that's great. And here's Robin-Yann Storm, who's going to lead the fireside chat and do the interview. And so you both will talk about the next level of immersion in digital worlds and about your new project. Curious what that is, so please enjoy the session.
Super.
Thank you very much. All right, Brendan, you got a demo to show.
Yeah, do you want to switch over to the other feed real quick?
Let's take a look.
Or switch the video. Oh, super. Okay, so just to show there's... Oh, but no, it's fine.
Sure.
I think yeah.
Sure.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah, just to show there's no... I'm going to stop doing that. Messing, there's a Gamescom logo, so I'm loading a schematic into our game Prologue Wayback. That schematic's used by our ML agent to generate a world. So this defines where the water is in the world, right? So we can just do like a river like that, and then I can export this. Oh, no. I can't read because I need my glasses. Export.
One up.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep, there you go.
Thank you. GC. Close that. And then just in our launch options in Steam, we have a schema path load. And then you just pull up the game and give it a second. So, do you want to start?
Sure. Well, for example, especially when it comes to like generating stuff like this, a lot of stuff, especially with Go Wayback, is randomly generated, right? Like
no. So we use the fusion models. We use Unreal's PCG system. Well, we've rewritten it to our own PCG system now because we need to save stuff and we need to load stuff in the right order because of the way we generate the worlds. Because we like generate a base map and then we tell it where the cabins are and that flattens the base map and then we have to re-put the cabins in after that. So there's a particular order. So this. Yeah, it's procedural, but it's ML based.
Yes.
But the population assets and stuff in Unreal are still using sort of a legacy PCG system, but we hope to move that over to ML driven as well. So the artists are controlling the assets, what they look like, the style of the world, and the system just enables us to focus on gameplay and allows us to create 8x8s pretty rapidly. Like what you're seeing here is the result of probably about a year's work, and we can do essentially infinite 8x8s, which is and I want to share this with the wider dev community because I think for smaller teams, this is super important. It's like a calculator, right? You still need to know how to do maths.
yes.
But it enables you to move at a much quicker pace and allows you to do more complex things and focus on the right things, which is often the theory or you know, the gameplay. And that's where the fun is. So we can just focus on that rather than having to hand build worlds, which takes a lot of time, especially at this kind of scale that I want to do.
Especially so, yes.
Right. Sorry, this
Look
is...
at this. And then, of course, one other thing that's really interesting about this is you're saying ML specifically.
Yeah.
You're not saying AI.
No.
You're not saying LLM.
No.
Why
We don't
is
use
that?
LLMs.
Yeah.
We use diffusion models. Like, I really don't... Like, LLMs have hallucination built into the system. Like, they're not deterministic. For this, the worlds have to be deterministic. Because if you want to share a seed with people, the world has to be the same. It can't be a slightly different world. So that's why, like, what we're doing is diffusion based rather than LLMs because, well, yeah, I'm still on the Gary Marcus skeptic side of LLMs. But so I've loaded the game. Here's our lovely world, and then on the map, you have our map and Gamescom Congress drawn out. And this map, I can generate this world again, and it'll generate a different map based on this seed. You can do 2.6 billion versions of this, but we're using guided generations because with proceduralism, you often get like 10,000 bowls of oatmeal. So you don't want to have that. So allowing, like right now, these are our river seeds. Or river schematics are generated by artists, but we hope to be able to analyze like river vector databases from Europe for the region this map is set in, which is Swiss Bohemia. And then we can use ML to generate the river schematics. And then we can focus on the river banks and stuff like that. So it's like we still inform how the world looks, but this just allows us to create worlds much quicker.
Right, so there's still a recognizability to that world. Of
No,
like
exactly,
something like
yeah.
the rivers that you see in real life.
Well, what we found already, like because we've opened this river schematic and map editor to our players, they've been already kind of getting maps of their local river system and putting it into the game and seeing the world they can generate. This is our plan with this, is why we're doing an open beta, because we had so much feedback of people wanting to explore the worlds in new ways and different ways, and not just the one survival loop that I just thought was a good way to test a generated world. So now we have this cheat menu, so it exists already, so we're just going to slap a UI on it and allow people just to set up the game how they want. So if they want to sit in the cabin for 14 hours and just like survive, one player survived 17 hours, I think, already in the game. Wow. So it's this idea that we see videos of people going, I found my cabin, I want to live here, right? But again, I really back as well, there was a study done that showed that like natural noise versus urban noise, it causes memory retention differences. So I think having this like space that there's no one trying to kill you, it's just a natural space you can go and escape to. I think that has value too, that it's not just about the game, it's about providing an emergent space, because that's how I fell back in love with gaming, was through DayZ and emergent spaces.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. And also, like during the PUBG development, you mentioned really liking map memory, of like people kind of having an idea of like, oh yeah, this is where I had that final shootout, I kind of recognize this location. In a much more like generated world like this, do you still have those elements as like, oh, I recognize this thing, like, do you want to have that? Do you not?
Oh no, you kind of learn to read the landscape, right? So like while you will have to chart a new path every time, you can recognize, okay, well now I know what this cliff looks like. And it was important for us to make the worlds readable, because you want them to be able to look at a vista and go, well, I can go that way or can't go this way. So there's still gameplay there, and we have ways to make sure that you can always get to the weather tower by checking like pathing and stuff like this, and analysis of the world that we generate. But there's a whole bunch of these things that enable us to create this solid gameplay loop, rather than having to worry about it not be. There was some moments that you couldn't finish the game because a new cliff spawning system just surrounded the weather tower and you couldn't get up. But now we have cliffs you can climb up, so that kind of solves that issue. So like it's all about like tackling each problem as it comes and trying to do it iteratively.
So you make sure you detect like, oh, you can get to the weather tower, it's possible to get there. Have people gotten there? Have you?
Oh no, yeah. It's about 2 hours or so is the average runtime.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, no, I mean, you can do it. It's hard. But again, if you go out and just run, you're probably going to die because a blizzard will catch you. But the worlds, like I said, like I'm very happy with how our worlds look, right? They have depth. They don't look super just janky, right?
Yeah.
They do look a bit janky now because our tech artist had a production baby, so he was on paternity leave. So he is now off. So he implemented some new stuff and then took some paternity leave. So I'm waiting for him to come back, going like, like there's just so much to do. But no, he's happy. So
that's fantastic. Well, I mean, congratulations to them. That's great.
I'm just looking for the lake now. I just can't see it. But keep going.
Sure. One thing that I was curious about is like you mentioned in playing PUBG, you also like playing as a pacifist, right? Like hiding, not shooting as much, not as much like kills in that case, but like surviving until you get to the end and then winning.
Yes.
And it makes me curious, is that also what made you make this more survival oriented? Is that the kind of thing that you want to make and do more of those kinds of things?
No, I just thought, what's the easiest way to generate a map? Or what's the easy way to test a new map every time you play? Because when we started this off, I wanted to do a 100 by 100 kilometer survival game. Something Rust but bigger, right? Or DayZ but bigger. But the problem is if you do 100 by 100 kilometers, where are you going to store the data? How are you going to build the world? So we found that you have to do it generatively, or else you just can't do that kind of scale. So that's why we looked into ML, because it's very good at inferring data from nothing. And that allows you to create massive scale with very, like our Preface project, it generates Earth scale planets with like 2.6 gigs of data. It's still not super dense with layers and stuff, but still it's a start. So I thought a survival loop was just, I go to where my happy place is, right? Like that's why I fell back in love with gaming, with survival loops. So that's where I wanted to go back. Like Battle Royale is essentially just an emergent space in a round-based system. And this was the same. I just thought like an emergent loot-based system, an emergent weather would just give replayability in a kind of survival game. Who was it? One of our mods said it's almost like Dark Souls for survival, where he sees people getting slaughtered in the game, but they keep coming back for more. So I'm very happy about that.
Exactly. Like it's very difficult. Like you have to like stay warm, get good clothing, like gather wood. It's quite difficult to survive.
It's not the easiest thing, especially if you don't plan, and that's the thing I like. It's a game against yourself. Like if you make the wrong decision, you're going to die. And then when you look back at that, you're going, damn it, like if I'd just taken that cooking pot, I wouldn't have died. So that's the kind of game I like. It's that, like, I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I'm not trying to tell you where you go. You choose your own adventure, to quote Ian Livingstone. But
Makes a lot of sense, yeah. Especially in relation to like the Souls-like kind of idea of like, oh, you know, you could dodge that attack, or maybe you can get one in, and you get a little bit greedy, and then you die. So that makes a lot of sense.
So this is our, you can see the lakes. Right now, these rock riverbanks, they were done by a programmer, so hence the lovely design. But we hope to be able to add much more variety to our riverbanks. So from sandy shores to but this was just proving the system, right? That we can get assets attached to rivers, and they look relatively natural. We can't even use, like, this is all Unreal, but we use Shader World to import the map, and we can't use a lot of Unreal's default systems because they just don't work with the way we import our maps. Like, it's very hacky the way we import it, but it works. So hey.
Cool. And you've mentioned like wanting to build this out into like a metaverse, like building out larger and larger things.
No,
what does that look like for you in this case, for these kinds of systems?
So the metaverse is the internet, but in 3D. At least that's what I think. And no one's building the metaverse. They're building IP bubbles that maybe will talk to each other. I don't know. But like the metaverse has to be HTTP, but in 3D. And that's what, when I started this, and I saw we could do essentially any scale of world, and that holistically, so especially when you generate it locally, it kind of holistically solves the networking problem. Because if you generate everything locally and the simulation is taken part before the networks tick locally, then it's fine. Then you can just have millions of players on a peer-to-peer system, especially if it's all authenticated. But I'm talking a lot of tech stuff that I don't know much about, so you're going to have to forgive me. But the idea is basically that if everything's generated locally, because if you're doing an Earth-scale planet, where are you storing the data? Like you see it with Microsoft Flight Sim, where they have to stream data, which is great if you've got a good internet connection. But if you're a kid in Africa or somewhere that doesn't have good internet connections, you don't get the same experience. So the metaverse has to be a digital place that gives everyone the same level of agency and access. And that has to be probably peer-to-peer, probably generated locally. And so that's the bigger plan here. Like it's more about providing bigger and bigger social spaces. Like we'll hopefully be able to allow you to play with friends, maybe in DLC 3 eventually, because it requires a lot of coding, which we don't have resources for now. But again, it's more that I want to create these shared spaces. Like I want to create Red of the Place, but in 3D, right? This kind of, so that's when I talk metaverse, is more that I'm providing. I'm not trying to compete with Unreal or Unity or stuff like that. I'm providing very specifically a protocol or an engine to generate digital places that can have games in them if you want to create games in them, but otherwise they can just be a place you can go and visit or go and relax, right? Because a lot of people live in small boxes with noise every day, and escaping to the countryside is often not on the cards. Here is better than other places in the world for that, but it's like having this space to go to escape to, I think, is something worthwhile. That's my Star Trek-y guy coming out.
So you're talking about accessibility in the literal way of like, can people access this across the world? Is it performant enough to do those things?
Yeah, it can't be tied to a device. It can't be exclusive to hardware. It has to be like the internet. It has to run on a toaster, right? And that means loading. So maybe someone with very bad hardware, like we've talked about, maybe even colo-cutting hardware that would do the simulation stuff and then just pass you some data. So if you've got a low-end device, you can still experience the world, but it'll probably be loaded down, like it'll probably be low graphics. But again, because it's a world and a place, that's okay that you have different experiences to everyone else. If you're playing experience or a game within that space, then maybe we have a different network layer, a different set of protocols. But again, this is all 10 years in the future. So it's like, there's a lot to do, but it has to be done in kind of in a fair and equitable way, because most of the metaverses that you see these days, or a lot of the Web3 stuff, it makes the founders money. And that's not the metaverse. That's not the internet was created by 5 guys in a room wanting to share data. I have 5 guys in a room trying to create a 3D space to share data. History doesn't repeat, but maybe it rhymes. But again, it has to be done the right. I'm a bit zealous about it because I just don't see anyone else doing it. I think this has to be done. So, yeah.
You don't want it to be locked behind something. You want it to be like fully accessible.
It can't be. It's the internet.
Yeah.
Or else you get AOL. And well, where's the fun in that?
And you mentioned like it running on a toaster, of course, like as a joke. But like there are fridges with screens on them. Like is like the end goal of like, hey, if this can run on a fridge and someone can do this, like that would be like
I'm not going to tell you. I mean, because we want the engine to be open source and managed in a foundation, because that's what it has to be. So then we'll just allow branching. So like that's how the internet got formed. Like with jQuery and 3GS now and all that, they were just plugging into the API the HTTP provided, right? And it'll be the same with us, that we'll just provide you with the engine. Like there may be layers like identity and finance that we can't, because in the real world you can't print a bank card or a passport. And I think you have to have a good identity layer to kind of enforce the social construct. Like dead internet theory is no longer a theory. Like it's just, yeah, the internet's dead, long live the internet. But again, you need to have like foresight on how to create these things in a very equitable and fair way.
Yes.
And that's what I want to spend time on. So I have some ideas, but yeah, it's going to take some time.
But that makes me very curious because, especially with Godot, for example, also being open source, one of the things that they often, of course, ran into is that a lot of people can submit whatever they want to it, and as long as it's approved, as long as the group likes it, a lot of stuff can still happen on there.
Yeah.
Do you still want to take a degree of the control there, or kind of managing and deciding what goes in there, or do you really want the community to fully own that?
No, so I think it has to be like HTTP, where there's a foundation of experts that decide on what actually gets added to the engine. But what's made by the engine, I don't want any control over. I believe in empowering communities to police themselves. So there will be dark places like there are on the internet. But again, if the most public places are managed by the community and you give them good tools, my thing is like there has to be consequence to action. That if you're an asshole on the internet, I should be able to ban your ass. That doesn't really exist. So in the metaverse, you have to have an ID layer that is like pseudo-anonymous almost, right? It has to be anonymous, but it still has to link to like you. Like it has, I still think there has to be layers to it. It's all very complicated, but I have some ideas on how to do this. But again, it just enforces consequence to action. That like if you're just going around being a troll, being an asshole, then people can just mute you and just turn you off. So you just disappear. So you can see everything still, and you can see what everyone's doing, but no one can see you because you're, well, an ass.
So, and you want that kind of moderation like built in, like part of the system, so
moderation
that's easy to
through
do.
Tools and protocols rather than moderation through humans, right? Because it just doesn't scale, right? Like you see the poor people at Facebook that have to go and moderate some of the stuff that's there, right? Like, I mean,
Yes.
you have to provide those tools, but again, this is 10 years away. Like I'm hoping in Game 2 and stuff, we're looking at community on a more public scale, like marketplace, this kind of stuff, trying to like bang out how this works, but it's important to do right. So we're going to spend time on it.
Interesting. But is it then still like, is it like a split account system? Is it one account system? Because on the internet, like it's basically like your IP address, that's the kind of thing you're joining with, and then you can have various accounts that you can log into. Like,
No, yeah,
something more central or?
No, it should be federated more than anything else, I think.
Okay.
Like DNS, right? You can't really spin up a DNS server, I think, right? I mean, it's relatively moderated or federated. And it's the same with this, like the ID layer, I can know who you are. I believe the future is local. I think your data will be stored on your device and you will decide who gets it rather than it just being stored in the cloud somewhere, right? But how we get there in the ID system, I have some ideas about the ID system, but I don't want to share them because maybe they're dumb, but my scientists think they're okay. But I have thought of a way to create an ID, like a number, that is relatively novel and should be relatively hard to scam. Or like, because I just look at, bot farms, and it's just bunches of phones next to each other. Yeah. So how do you stop that? There's some ideas.
Interesting. And you're saying you're relying a lot on like the experts around you. Like you even just said, like oh yeah, this works like this. Maybe not that I'm an expert at it. That's unique to hear usually from a leader in.
Oh no, I had a very tough few years at the start where I had some leaders that I thought were telling me the right thing. But I didn't have enough experience myself to understand. So I've had a pretty exponential learning curve on how games are made, because I was a graphic designer and a DJ and a photographer up until I got given a bunch of money and told to build a studio, make a game, right? Because even with PUBG, I was on the road a lot, so I didn't have my hands deep in development. So now I've had to learn, but the most important thing is like learning what you're not good at. And just getting people that are, and especially finding people that are willing to argue back and go, no, well, that's dumb. But you can do it like this. And I have with Kim, with Laurent, with Peter, and all the other leaders in the team. I have these layer of people now that can take vision and translate into something more pragmatic and production ready, right? Which is super important. But it's taken me a long time to get there. Like I had this simple survival idea in 2019. and released a trailer at Games Awards, and then went quiet for 4 years because I couldn't get it made. But then thankfully I had a very good core team that have stuck with me through all that time, and now we have the right leadership in place. Again, it was my failing that I just didn't recognize that they didn't have the experience, but now I have the people that, and I've got good counsel from like David Podfelt and stuff who I respect massively. So these kind of people, like, he originally thought, no, just make another PLAYERUNKNOWN game. But then he listened to the vision. He was like, no, fuck it, dude, you do this. So like having this backup and having, I thought I was crazy at one stage, but now I'm sliding down that scale a little. That like, there's people with bunches of experience that are telling me, no, you're not nuts. Like, this is possible. It's just going to take a little bit longer than you think.
Yeah. So how did you find the right people? Like you said initially, like it was tougher, you didn't get quite the right advice. How did you select for that? How did you find that shared
Through
vision?
meeting David Podfelt, essentially. David, so he was coming, I was interviewing maybe to come join the company, but he had just left Massive and I wanted a little bit of a holiday and a break from doing all that. But he introduced me to Kim Nordstrom, who I'd interviewed for a book, and then we just really hit it off. He's a book, Up, Down, Up, you should really read it. It's about the success and failure of massive games companies. But he believed in the vision, but also was willing to go, well, no, but hang on, how do we do this? And it's the same, like I found Laurent as well. He was going to come in as a tech lead, but came on as our CTO. And like both Kim and Laurent took a title hit. Like they were both C-level and they came in as tech director and or tech lead and studio lead. And now they're CEO and CTO. But they took that hit because they really believed in what we were doing and just wanted to support it. And I've been lucky to have a lot of people that just believe in this and want to support it rather than looking to exploit it in some way.
So how do you deal with the classic directorial view of like in a meeting you say something offhand of just like, oh, I think about this thing, and then suddenly 6 months. Okay, 6 months later, suddenly it's built. And you're like, wow, that was just the small thought I had.
I have a producer now. I run everything to my producer. I have my Brendans like to have bucket, but other than that, it all goes through the producer. Like, because I understand, I talk in vision, and that and also when it comes to making the game, I had an idea for a simple survival game, but I thought, well, then I'll let the team. Initially, I was very not critical, but just saying, no, I want to do it this way, this way, this way. I learned to step back and let them come up with their own ideas and be creative, and then I can come in after 6 months and go, well, let's just edit this a bit. And that's much easier on the team then, because it's not just an overbearing creative going, do this, this, and this. It's letting them have a bit of creativity and freedom, and then going, yeah, this is fantastic, but we do this later, and I'm just editing it. But like the game they've created, I'm just so proud of. Like I have 200 hours in it already because I love playing it. And like the feedback we get from Discord has been amazing. Like people are saying they get giddy and giggling when they get a fire lighted for more than a minute, which is just the kind of thing you want to hear, right?
That's fantastic.
I want to ask, does anyone have any questions since we have a small room and 2 minutes?
We have a little bit more time.
Oh, do we?
Yeah.
Okay, super.
Whoa, okay. Does anyone from the audience have any questions? Anything that they're particularly wondering about?
Then we keep barreling through.
Yeah, then like I'm happy to ask more questions as well. Like,
oh yeah, go ahead. Yeah, sorry.
Oh, yes.
Oh, well, he can shout. Oh, for the people recording though.
Yes. When I have it on the recording.
Hello, I'm Joel. I'm from Play Inside. So I'm wondering about how you might be inspired by The Long Dark, and if you're thinking about making kind of like challenges like in The Long Dark for the game, or maybe something like Wintermute or an anomaly in the game, so you have this kind of sense of mystery.
No, so we have a story. That will be adding probably, when we come out of early access, there'll be cutscenes at the start and the end of the game that kind of reveal a little bit more of why this game exists, what this game is. Oh Christ, what was the start of the question?
Like, is it related to other games that you've seen?
Oh, sorry, Long Dark. Yes, so Long Dark, I actually interviewed with Zachnifine. He's the guy Yeah, and I just reached out to him because he did a really good review of the game on YouTube, quite critical, but very good. So, and then he told me like he never thought he'd be talking to me, but I was like, I love what you do. I've never played The Long Dark, but people have told me this is kind of similar. I know I should, right? But again, like, so misery mode, this kind of stuff, we're opening a settings menu. So you'll just be able to create your own experience. We've already talked about, well, can we do an 8 kilometer long, but maybe 500 meter wide map? and then you just pick 4 items at the start, like alone, and you got to get the 8 kilometers with those 4 items and see if you can survive. So the ability for you to create your own settings, we'll just leave that up to you. Like I will have my survival mode with the story-linked content that will bleed in occasionally, but it won't be a story-based game. It's more like a platform for creating whatever game mode you want, right? Or just hike and view the place. Yeah.
So it's essentially like a template that you give people, and they sort of like they can build
it's
within.
It's a very small, like realistic Minecraft. Very small. But this is the whole aim with Artemis is to build a realistic Minecraft. To have like, we will give you Minecraft survival, but the underlying engine will be open and free for you to do what the hell you want with. So having this kind of guided generation where you can, like we can do rivers right now, but we want to add the ability to define where the mountains are, where different biomes are, so you can just construct a map using very simple tools.
So those kind of modding tools and things, like you really want that to be part of this. People
if we can open this for modding, of course. Because I'd love to see other biomes, because it's just a bunch of systems. Like you can put logs on the cooker, turn on the cooker, and the logs will catch fire. And then even if they go to black embers, and they might be out, but they still retain enough heat to light the paper. So these kind of systemic systems I love, because that just opens up this platform for all kinds of game modes, right? Yeah.
So you really want to make like super wide, and yet at the same time very deep. Like just like having these small systems that can affect a lot of different things.
And we just want to add more depth to the world. So pathing, electricity systems, this kind of stuff, and build it into like a world generation system that we can share hopefully with devs at some stage. But again, because of the way we import the game, I'm not sure about that. So but I do want to do that. Like, you know, if you earn less than $1 million a year, you could have it for free, right? But if you're a big corp, then you've got to give us some kind of tax.
Because we've seen the same thing recently with like the new Battlefield using Godot for the UGC portal set. And so is it your idea as well? Then like if a game company thinks like, hey, once it's open source, it's like, hey, we want to use this.
Sure,
this is great. Then you're like, yeah, sure, fine, grab it.
Because like we all got to move forward together, right? It's like you don't try to hold back new tech. Like if it can make other teams, smaller teams, do better things and bigger things, why wouldn't I want to share that? It just, to me, it's like we get to make games for a living. Like, why are we not all collaborating? Like, it's the coolest job in the world. Anyway.
Awesome, great. And you're talking about like sort of like the realistic Minecraft that you mentioned this year. So are we talking Bed Wars with realistic beds? Like, are we talking like the games that we've seen, but in this?
Do I have a...
Oh, you already have it built?
No. I have a piece of concept art.
It's going to be on screen whether you open up now, so be careful.
No, I think it's on my desktop. No, it's on my downloads. It's one of these, I think. No, I'm not going to. No, but it's a piece of concept art that basically, I said, what if a car had legs?
Okay.
Right, if you had that level of modding, and they basically did a like 1950s car with almost like Barbie doll legs being chased by like a dinosaur being ridden by a knight. So it's this kind of like, this should all be possible, right? Because it is just a digital place. So like, I'm not going to like, it should all be open. It should all be moddable. It should all be just whatever you want to see, you can see.
So is it the kind of like the Gmod thing and what Sandbox is doing now that they're building all that? Is those kind of similar ideas?
It's just a platform, right? It's the internet in 3D. So it's just a shared, like where a world is a page or pages, right? And it's about exploring it in, so we even with a Preface or tech demo, we have a in-browser globe, which you can just click anywhere on and it takes you in the game to that place. So that's how I imagine like how you browse games as well. There's just a globe with all the indie experiences on this globe, and you can click on any of them and just go there. But if you want to actually affect the world, you probably have to go and do the civilization mode, or go to the place and have to like claim the place and do work to create the game mode. You can't just go. But maybe there's a creative mode. I don't want to control it. It's like in our survival game mode, there will be stuff for you to do if you want to, or you can just float around and see stuff. Like, I don't really care. It's more about just providing the experience that anyone wants rather than one person wants.
Like really pure creative freedom in that case.
Yeah, no, holodeck, right? You should be able to create your experience using pretty simple tools, because that's how I got started, right? And I want to find the next PLAYERUNKNOWN by giving them even simpler tools, because it's how like music has moved on. It's how all these, through the addition of technology that just democratizes the space for much more people, right? It's how we got EDM, all this kind of stuff. It's yeah, it excites me.
So there's also this idea then of making those tools really easy to use and like
Yes.
nicer. Because we see that, for example, nowadays much with the Roblox, of course, like where you see like kids creating things, right? Like, and it's easy for them to do those things. So that's also the kind of direction that you want. Like, is there an age range that you're looking for in this case, or is it like anyone?
Not Roblox.
Okay.
Chris Hansen is investigating Roblox right now. Yeah, Jesus Christ. No, but it's a space. It's the internet. So there will be spaces for younger folks, probably, but probably somewhat moderated or because we have the tools for that. But again, I don't know. Like I've been asked before, like how do I think this will look eventually? And it's like, I have general ideas, but it's like you could ask someone 20 years ago, what would the internet look like now? Right. It's very hard to describe it. Like back then it was just simple pages. Now it's whole experiences, right? And maybe you could foresee that back in the past, but again, yeah, it's like trying to study quantum physics. If you say you understand it, you don't.
Right. Okay. So does also mean like your success criteria change over time? Like now you're looking in like this direction, and as you go, it might shift a little bit.
Oh yeah, no, because it has to. It's when you're researching anything new, you can't have, especially doing research. Of course, you can have deadlines, but they're more that after 6 months, if we're not making progress, we probably shouldn't, keep researching, or at least have the insight to know that this is not worth pursuing anymore.
Right.
But that's the thing with building new things, you have to be flexible. Our engine has to be relatively generic so we can plug in new tech as it comes along because we have a 10-year horizon. So like we have to build things to be as generic as possible and as flexible as possible. And it requires also a lot of like careful culture management in the team that like we have new people coming on board that may be more AAA based. So their mindset is more pull a lever than looking at the system and going, well, can I do something else with this? And that's a cultural thing we have to kind of manage carefully. But luckily we have people in, like, it's okay to have an open mind, but not open enough that your brain falls out. But it's still like, it's knowing, like in photography, knowing that the rule of thirds exists, but you can break it. And to great, to great effect, essentially.
And so in one conversation you've had before, you mentioned the phrase, horses will not get you to the moon.
Oh, yeah.
What do you mean by that?
That was how I was trying to explain what we're doing. We're trying to build a combustion engine in an age of horses, right? And I look at server client as a horse. Like, it will never get you to millions of players. It's impossible, right? So I think that you have to reinvent the platform. So horses are great, but they won't get you to the moon. You can bolt rocket engines onto a horse. They'll get somewhere, but not to the moon. So you have to reinvent the platform in order to get out of where you are, right? And that's why I kind of use that kind of analogy. Same as orchestra and a conductor, right? That it's trying to look at how I can frame what we're doing in a way that makes most sense, right?
Makes sense. And so what does your day-to-day then nowadays look like? Is it a lot of playing, now and then a meeting? Are you just constantly every day filled with meetings, discussing
I'm like? Oh God, no. I'm chief creative. I didn't even do performance reviews this year because how am I going to tell people that have 30 years experience in the industry how to do the jobs better? Like, I don't have that knowledge. So me, it's more I play the game, I give feedback to the team. They do like brain dumps on me where it's basically I have all the knowledge of where I want to go in there, but it hasn't really been written down because I'm not good at that. So we just have sessions of 2-3 hours where they just go through, okay, what are we doing up to early access? What are we doing after early access? What do you want as a priority? And do it like that. But yeah, I have a bunch of projects on, so most of the time it's just thinking. It's like I'm never really off. Like when I launch something, I go terminally online. Like I'm in our Discord all the time, replying to people, because why wouldn't I? Like I'm very proud of what we've achieved. So I want to go out. I stayed silent for 4 years. I didn't really do much, any press, went very quiet because I had nothing to say. I had nothing to show. I had plenty to say, I had nothing to show. But now I've got something which I think is very good to show. But and I want to talk about it, so yeah. Yeah,
you're going way more public and like go way back, like, get it on Steam.
It's an open beta on Steam on Epic Games. You need 16 gig of RAM or so, but it's infinite worlds. Like you can go exploring these worlds essentially forever. There's like billions.
Yeah, you can just like grab it right now and like use it. Like you've really gone fully outside now.
And then we're doing like 3 months of open beta to test with the community and build in some new features, and then into early access hopefully.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, that sounds great to hear. All right, so yeah, go check out Wayback. Go get it on Steam.
Thanks so much, guys.
I think that's all we have time for. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks all.
Thank you very much.
Oh, no. Pleasure. Oh.